Hi everybody, I'm John Jabailey. I want to talk to you again about the real estate market and things that are going on. In the meantime, I'm listening to AC/DC, Bad to the Bone. You know, that was what we were playing for the last several years because the real estate market is actually kind of like the nursery rhyme. There was a little girl that had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid. That's really what the real estate market was all about. Keeping in mind, of course, that you can't all of a sudden invent a buyer. If you got your home on the market for sale, you can't just say, well, you have to buy my home. People have to have the want and then the need. So the thing is that as the economy has now turned and gone back in the other direction, sometimes we're finding competition for homes. So when you look at supply-demand issues, those are things that are actually create market. If you had one automobile for sale and you had 100 people wanting it, what would imagine what would happen to the price of that car? It would just go up out the roof. The same thing happens with real estate. That may be one of the things that happened. There was a catalyst behind why the housing values went so bad in certain markets, and all of a sudden when they start to slide backwards, they fall through the floor. I've said before that when you're on the floor, you don't have very far to fall. Florence has certainly been somewhere in that vicinity. We've been averaging somewhere between a 3 to 5% inflation rate on homes. You don't really have very far to fall if you slide backwards. I've been doing this. This is now my 37th year in the real estate business. That doesn't mean I have all the answers, but it means I know where to go to get them. And when you talk about housing values and the rising and falling, because we have a very stable market here and a very stable economy, even though we have a very high unemployment rate, we don't see fluctuation in values like we have seen before. Yes, there are people that have had to bring money to closing, but there are still people that are going to closing and walking out with a check. But we don't have the radical surges that they've seen in places like Sarasota, Florida, Las Vegas, and Palmdale, California, where they're going up 20% a year. So if you stop and think, gosh, if I buy a $100,000 home and I put 10% down on it, which is $10,000, at the end of a year the house is worth $120,000, and I sell it and I get my money back, I get $120,000. Well, on my $10,000 cash upfront investment, I made a $20,000 profit. That is a 200% rate of return. That's what people were doing when they were speculating in the markets. People were saying, I want to flip homes. Well, they were just buying, speculating them, turning around, selling them, making a profit. Well, the thing is, when you have that, you don't have much stability in the market. That was the problem. Now, all of a sudden, we seem to have more stability. The government has said that we're going to go up on some of the beacon scores. We used to be a 620 beacon, now it's up to 640. They're looking for people with more stability. Because if you don't speculate, you're not going to have radical surges and radical falls. But I do see the housing real estate market coming back to life. There was an article in the paper over the weekend about how much it surged. I did a report on this last week, and I gave you the numbers. So the thing is, if you're thinking about selling a home, the springtime is really the best time. Now's the time to be doing it. Talk to an agent who is a member of the National Association of Realtors. That gives them membership in the state and local boards. They'll do their homework and do you right. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.